brothers and sisters? What's up? This is the Reluctant Navi back again. And well, I'm presenting to you today that the sky may not be falling. All right. You listen to a lot of these weak-minded dudes running around scared and everything that do not pay attention to the news. They have never served in the military. All right. They only they are able to be frightened into just, oh, sky is falling, because they only pay attention to one news source, right? And there are still reporters out there. There's just not on MSNBC or CNN. All right. You got to go and look at some of the smaller guys that still want to do some real reporting. All right. And so this reporter comes from CBSN Broadcast Center. All right. And if you want a real in-depth look at the situation that is going on now between the United States and Iran, then you will come to find that it is more nuanced than CNN and MSNBC and all Bloomberg and all the rest of it. Think about it. You shouldn't get any of your news from Bloomberg anymore, because the guy that owns Bloomberg is trying to run for president. So there's a conflict of interest there. All right. But for those of you that want a real analysis on what's going on and how it may affect you, and trust me when I say that none of this is going to affect most people in America, since most do not serve in the military. And the many that do not serve do not care about people in the military. So this is not going to affect you, since most in America in these days do not care about the people that serve in the military and would be sent over there. As a matter of fact, I would dare say that the news media from CNN and all the rest of them got is starting to have people treat people that would join the military in order to defend their rights, to treat the military people bad. People are going back to treating the military the way they treated Vietnam vets. Okay? I mean, if you look on the left, this is what you're seeing. And this is why you have a wide chasm and a split even within the black demographic, so-called black demographic, of people that says, you know what? We're not we're not caping for the left. And they're starting to realize that we should have never been caping for the left. So, for those of you that want to stay around to figure out what's really going on, or more nuanced analysis on how complex this picture is, and how it might not be the sky is falling, but it might be a way to get to some resolve that favors the U.S., then stick around. So, let me greet everybody real quick. Haborton Hardu Hadag, Ola Oita Bay, Vossas Los Bonjour Mes Amis, Kedu, Bawani, Konnichiwa, Nihao Ma, Sani Bonani, Jambo Habaragani, Assalamu Alaikum, and Shalom. Alright? So let's get into the breakdown of what's going on. And this guy that I put on here, this is Mike Morell. He wrote a piece in The Hill. That's going to be in the description box, along with the entirety of this interview. So this is what I would recommend. First, go read the article on The Hill, which will be in the description box. All right. After you finish listening to this, and then go watch the YouTube interview, and it should put many people at ease, but it should explain pretty much what is going on. All right. And there's a couple of things, caveats, that I am going to add in these pieces. All right. Now, let me remind you, let's get them thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, click the notification bell. For those who like to help this channel out and what we do in the community for children, and what this channel likes to do outside of this country, my PayPal link will be in the description box. All right. and along with my Cash App. All right, along with my Cash App. So both will be in the description box. All right, so let's start breaking this down. All right, so yeah, brothers and sisters, let's take a quick look at the breakdown here.
To get your insight here. So first off, when you heard about the attacks on the 2 bases in Iraq, your first reaction?
So my first reaction was I was a little surprised that they did a direct military attack from Iran on the United States because of the risk associated with it. Had they killed an American, it would have been very difficult for President Trump not to have responded in force by attacking sites in Iran.
Let me say this again. So what kicked this all off? People are asking, what happened to cause President Trump to take out the general? What happened in the news? And basically, December 27th, they killed the general was responsible for attacks that took the life of an American civilian. He's been taking the lives of military, but he's a general from an opposing army. And if the military had a shot at him, they would, it's military to military. But when he took out a contractor that was a civilian, all right, President Trump's hand was forced to react in the same way that he is saying that President Trump would have to react again if they take out a civilian. Or in this case, American lives because of whatever happened. All right? Understand this. So, now we got the caveat as to what is the thing that pushed this thing over the edge recently to cause for Trump to okay the go ahead against a general. But there is more to that, and that might have been a doorway or a window into bigger negotiations. And some of the times, in order for people to come to the table, they really have to understand how bad things could really get. I am reminded of an old Star Trek episode, old school Star Trek, where in the episode, people will just go to these chambers, and they were having a proxy war that designated random people were to be eliminated. And each side said, well, they've been doing this for years and years. And so what happened is that they never had a real battle, a real war. They never seen real consequences, because this was the taking of lives of many people in a sterile way. And so you could keep this thing on and nobody would ever come to the table to discuss their grievances. All right. And of course, the Enterprise changed that to when they would have to battle for real. And people didn't like the taste of real battle. So they came to the table to just negotiate the differences and squash the beef. This is basically what's going on now.
And that would have taken us to the risk of war. It actually would have taken us to war. So I was a bit surprised. But when I saw how limited the strike was, a relatively small number of missiles, no casualties, it suggested to me that the Iranians may be sending a signal here that, look, we have to respond, but we did a proportionate response. We don't want to escalate this. We want this to be, at least in the overt war, perhaps our last shot for now.
Understand, he said overt war. See, when people don't understand, like that show in Star Trek, we have been involved in a covert war for a long time. All right. And nobody would come to the table to discuss the grievances. And we might have that episode playing out in these events now. Funny how Star Trek is ahead of the game again. Something to think about. Now, let me go to the article that this man wrote, right? And in the article, he states that neither Iran nor the United States seemingly wants a military conflict, but that does not mean one could not happen. Indeed, the likelihood of such a conflict is higher today than at any time since 2011, when Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu seemed intent on a massive strike on Iran's nuclear programs, which could have drawn U.S. into war. All right, a conflict likely to begin with Iranian provocation that trips U.S. tolerance, triggering an attack to deter Iran from further provocation. Iran would see this as a disproportionate, or see this as disproportionate, and the response would quickly escalate. This would be a fight tonight, war without a weeks or months long buildup. Oh, I see what he said. So he was saying this would be a fight tonight war without weeks or month long buildup of U.S. forces. The U.S. would fight with what it has in the region. So y'all get what he's saying. It would be a fight tonight war. So if Israel was to attack Iran, that would force the United States to defend Israel and fight along with them instantly. All right. There would not be a buildup because this would be an immediate war. You understand? That's how bad things would get with Iran. I mean, if Israel attacked Iran. So what the U.S. did was we went in as a buffer zone between Israel and Iran. And we needed to renegotiate these deals. And what does Trump do? Well, he wants to make a deal that suits the U.S. and our money interest. All right, so let's continue on.
Significant that they did not do that, that these are rocket launches that came from Iran.
Now, what she said, what she is saying, and again, another real reporter asking the real tough questions in an unbiased way, even though she may lean probably not towards Trump or whatever. But again, another real reporter. Now, when I said Tucker Carlson was unbiased, is that we already know he leans right. And so he's going to call people out based on who they are and how much it hurts the principles that he stands for. So he don't care who you are as the president if he thinks you are going against the principles that he holds, that says right or left, you leave people alone, um, let people be, all right, but you stand for certain values, all right? And so he asks tough questions on that end. You got tough questions on the neutral end here. I respect both. What I don't respect is the people that's been setting up the Afro community for such a long time, have been plastering us and using us as their tool to get stuff off of our backs, standing for things that actually tore our families apart, and they do it on our backs. That's go out to CNN and MSNBC. All right, so this is CBSN. So pay attention to the nuance and the real deal of what's really going on here.
Yes, I think you have to put this into two buckets. The overt war, which is us killing Qasem Soleimani, taking responsibility, and them now firing back from Iran, taking responsibility. That's the overt war. Hopefully that can de-escalate now.
All right, so you got an overt war and you got a covert war. All right, understand. You have an overt war and a covert war. We've been fighting a covert war since the Israel-Iran debacle. Okay, y'all got to understand this. All right, but these people on the left got you all ramped up and afraid of what? Think about that. All right, these wars have been going on for a while. The covert war. The left knew it because they okayed it. Nancy Pelosi okayed George Bush, Obama, Clinton. Nancy Pelosi and them okayed all the wars until they get to Trump. And Trump hand was forces because on December 27th, they killed a civilian person, a person that was non-military, a contractor. Think about that. All right. And so, yeah, Trump had to do something to avenge the contractor, while at the same time avenging all the U.S. stuff. And, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And then you had to have the hard talk. We will do this, that, and the other. Now, again, as Mr. Morell explained the nuances.
So both the U.S. and Iran say they do not want escalation. They do not want war. The president has said that really what he wants is a renegotiation of the nuclear deal, and he wants Iran to sort of step back from its meddling, if you will, in various countries in the Middle East. So both the U.S. and Iran say they do not want escalation. They do not want war. The president has said that really what he wants is a renegotiation of the nuclear deal, and he wants Iran to sort of step back from its meddling, if you will, in various countries in the Middle East.
Y'all get it? Renegotiation. What did this president say? He said that he's been saying that the United States in all of its negotiations have gotten the raw end of the deal financially and otherwise, right? So I don't know. Maybe this is a thing to push them to come back to the table and renegotiate things so that we can get a more favorable deal. Who knows? All right, but that's what this has been about. Finish something up real quick. So the article on the hill.com that they wrote, how the United States basically would get into a war with Iran. It was written by not only Mike Morell, but Admiral James A. Sandy. All right. And when Sandy, all right, Winfield Jr. Okay, that's his name. Admiral James A. Sandy is what they nickname him, but James Winfield Jr. All right, and he's U.S. Navy retired. He's an admiral. All right, and so basically they go into what Iran might want out of a deal and what the United States might want out of a deal. See, this whole thing is more nuanced than people are giving credit to. I want y'all to pay attention. This thing is more nuanced than what people are giving credit to. So, Iran's strategic goals, all right, and these are very experienced people, would be to gain sanctions relief by demonstrating its ability to impact the global economy through control over the Straits of Hormuz. All right, so take some geography to understand what that is, but that is a very important strait where things could get in and get out. It's a very, very important shipping lane, okay, for them and anybody else in the region. Dividing the U.S. from the rest of the world and gaining international stature by humiliating the U.S., all while avoiding any internal threats to its regime. The U.S. goals would be to bring Iran to its knees to the negotiating table, uphold freedom of navigation through the Straits of Hormuz, excuse me. All right, freedom of navigation, prevent attacks on U.S. itself, reduce Iran's capacity to threaten its neighbors, and prevent Iran from restarting its nuclear weapons program. And do all this with traditional allies and partners. So they lay out the goal in all of this. All right. So as you see, it is more complex than CNN and MSNBC is making it. As a matter of fact, you got people that detest Trump that's giving you the news, so they're not going to be biased. They're looking for something to make the guy look bad, not what is going to be in the best interest of the United States. Period. Or the people. Period. Or real news for the people. Period. The people in Congress, mainly the Democrats, are pouncing, and they would side with somebody who has blood on their hands of American soldiers because they despise this guy so much. That tells you the character of the people in Congress. And when you're looking on Facebook and you're seeing people side with somebody who takes the lives of soldiers and civilians because they don't care, because they dislike the guy because the news told them to, then you need to see people that will be treasonous to our own community, because they will do only what the media that don't look like us tells them to. They have no sense of right and wrong. They have no sense of nuance. This goes for anybody. Things are always a little more complex than what they seem on the surface. All right? You should never let the media brainwash you into thinking that this is a simple thing, that this guy is an idiot, he's wrong because we never liked him because he beat our girl. And with this girl, we was going to tell y'all how to think. That's what CNN and MSNBC is now. They are people that wish they could tell you how and what to think and when to think it. They don't believe in rights for everybody. They only believe in rights for the left-leaning and only the far left-leaning, and anybody else should be dealt with accordingly if they do not succumb to and bow down to the left. And that's a dangerous thing. But as you see on CBS N News, they're taking a more nuanced approach to this because this is way more nuanced. And I'll leave you with the final sayings from this author of this article. Read the article first, then look at the video again in its entirety. Then when you get done, look at what I have to say again and how we're being misled by the media to throw shade at a guy because the media didn't like him, because they wanted to push their left-wing agenda that actually ultimately destroys families. Because the left-wing agenda is not about everybody having the rights to make a decision. It is about them being able to force their practices in on everybody else. Just like the bakery they shut down in Oregon because they would not bake a cake because of their spiritual and religious principles that were protected by the Constitution. But the left says the Constitution don't matter, only their feelings. Y'all better listen to somebody. Pay attention to this. In closing, pay attention to what this man has to say.
So ironically, I think maybe we have a little bit of an opportunity here.
Opportunity.
If the Iranians say to their people, we hit back hard, we hit back directly, we killed Americans, we're now even. And if the president says to the American people, they took a shot at us, they weren't effective, we defended ourselves, there were no casualties, then we can de-escalate this. And then in diplomatic channels, through an intermediary, maybe we can start having a conversation, Iran, around the following kind of narrative. We came very close to war with you. Maybe it's time that we sit down and have a conversation about the future relationship between our two countries. Maybe we can get the negotiations started that the president has been pushing for. So it's a long shot, but the fact that we've gone through this and the fact that Iran did its measured response, we'll see what the president does in response to the response, but we may have an opportunity here that we didn't have 2 weeks ago.
An opportunity for more than just peace on this incident, an opportunity to solve the issues that led us to this incident to begin with a person that said we needed to renegotiate some things because the things that were going on in the Middle East was not good for the United States, and it brought us to this brink. Don't ever let somebody tell you it's just simple. This guy is an idiot because we don't like him. This guy may be turning out to be a genius. We don't know that yet. Hindsight is always 20/20. But I'm just saying, this guy may be turning out to be a genius. We have an immediate problem in the United States. And that is this. That we got people that want to mislead us because they feel like they have the power in the media. And they do have some power in the media to control how people think. Not everybody, but if you get enough weak-minded people that don't ever study anything, that know nothing about geography, that don't pay attention to world events, that only think about themselves or chasing booty. Oh, that's the reason why I had the pictures up in the article thing. I had the pictures up of curvaceous women because if you don't, some dudes will never bother to look at the words. That's how washed up they are in the brain. That the only thing that matters to them is chasing a shape, is chasing some boot hang. Understand this. All right. As an Afro community, it's time out for us to allow these females to flag down channels, to flag down our comments on Facebook. It's time out for that. We need to start shutting that down too, even if it means shutting them down the same way they're shutting us down. Understand what I'm saying, brothers? All right? Because guys that say things that people don't like to hear should be able to say them because people need to start thinking of bigger pictures rather than thinking of what CNN and MSNBC tells them or Roland Martin tells them. These people don't have our best interests at heart at all, nor have they ever have. With that said, I'm out.